In a packed hall of thousands, everyone expected the usual praise, applause, and familiar answers. But then a voice cut through the room. A young Muslim asked a question no one was supposed to ask. Not about faith, not about God, but about the uncomfortable gap between the glory that they are told about and the reality they live today. For the moment, the room went quiet, because this wasn't just a question. It exposed the hole in the story and raised a dangerous possibility. What if the reason for Muslims backwards isn't the one Dr. Naik and other scholars have taught them? I am Dr. K, a theologian and polemist, and today we are revealing the answer that couldn't be given on the stage that day. If you enjoy deep dives like this one, subscribe and smash the notice bell so that you don't miss what is coming next.
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. It's my honor to standing here asking this question. And at the same time, I'm very sad to ask this question. If the Quran is a book of the guidance, and the Islam is a religion of the knowledge and all this, then why we are Muslim as a nation, as a majority, we are standing in the back among the nations? Why, when we compare our nation with other nations, we see a big hole between us and them?
Now, the question that this young man asked felt like a betrayal, not of faith, but of what Muslims have been told by their scholars. While there is a hole between the Islamic world and the rest of the nations, you aren't just asking about economics. You are questioning the very foundation of the superiority narrative that Muslims have been taught about why the Quran is more superior to all other religious texts. The Golden Age Mirage. Dr. Zakir Naik's response was immediate. He didn't look at the present. He ran to the past. He claimed the Dark Ages were only dark in the West, while the Arab world reached a phenomenal peak. Naik claims that the Arab world was on top because they were close to the Quran and the Sunnah.
The brother asked a very good question, very important question, very relevant question. That if Quran has so much of information regarding science, technology, it's a book of knowledge, book of guidance, then why are we Muslims backward? It's a very good question. The reason is, if we look back into the history, from the 8th to the 10th century, we read in the historical books, the Europeans, they called it as the Dark Ages. Dark for whom? Dark for the Europeans. The Arabs, the advancement they made in science and technology was phenomenal. If you had to know about science, if you want to do research of science, you had to learn Arabic. Like how today we learn English. At that time, the Muslims were on top of the world because we were close to Quran and Sunnah.
But this is a historical gap. The Golden Age didn't flourish because of isolation. We'll get back to the reason why the Golden Age flourished: the stolen silence. To explain away modern failure, Naik focuses on westernization. He claims the world has stolen Muslim credit by changing names like Jabbar to Gabbar.
We know Geber. It's not Geber, it is Jabir ibn Haiyan. They want to, change the name, westernize it, Geber. So Geber looks like a westerner, sounds like a westerner, correct? It is Jabir ibn Haiyan. He is the father of chemistry, wrote more than 200 pages, 2000 pages. He was the first who distilled alcohol. Alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-gul. Alcohol is Arabic, al-gul meaning evil spirit. He distilled it. How many people know about Al-Kindi? At the time when Newton, who's the biggest scientist in the world history, Newton said all laws are absolute. Al-Kindi said no, all laws are not absolute, they're relative. Later on, Albert Einstein came. All have heard about Einstein. How many of us have heard about Al-Kindi?
This creates a strong sense of victimhood, but avoids the uncomfortable truth. Men like Al-Kindi or Al-Biruni were often considered as heretics by the authorities of that time. The same men that Zakir Naik is praising now. They were pioneers of reason, a reason modern Islamic scholars have virtually abandoned, the secular trap of blame. When the young man asks why their nation is backward, Naik turns the blame inward. The Quran is not to blame, but the people are.
Today, the reason the Muslims are backward is because we are far away from Quran Sunnah. So Quran is not to blame, you and I are to blame. If you read in the books of history and books of science, I said in my lecture, Ibn Nafis. Ibn Nafis, 600 years after the Quran was revealed, was the first to describe the blood circulation. In a textbook, we know about William Harvey, we don't know about Ibn Nafis. So two reasons is there. Number one, Muslims have gone away from Quran Sunnah. Number two, media. Media also plays a big role in it. In our textbook, in my school, I never heard about Ibn Nafis. After when I did research, I came to know. In my textbook was mentioned William Harvey.
Naik often turns to an example. When a driver crashes a Mercedes, you can't blame the car, but blame the driver.
If you want to judge how good a car is, if a driver does not know how to drive the car and he bangs up the car, who will you blame, the driver or the car? Driver. So don't judge Islam by looking at the Muslims. Judge Islam by the authentic sources of the Quran. And if you judge according to this, if you want to judge the car, you'll go at the catalog, what is the speed of that Mercedes car, what is the safety measures, what is the average, etc., etc. Or you judge by putting a driver behind the seat who's an expert driver. So if you want to observe a human being, to know how Islam is, the best example is the last and final messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
This is the ultimate forbidden realization. Naik's logic is a trap. If the answer to every failure is simply you are not Muslim enough, then no amount of scientific inquiry or reform will ever be enough. It's a loop that ensures that the big hole never closes. The final reveal, the cost of nostalgia. Naik promises that the Quran is the solace to the suffering and a guide to the erring. He calls it the most positive book and the fountain of wisdom.
So my request to all the Muslim brothers and sisters, you go back to the Quran. Study the Quran. Quran is the most positive book in the world. It's a proclamation to humanity. It's a fountain of mercy and wisdom. It's a warning to the heedless. It's a guide to the erring. It's an assurance to those in doubt. It's a solace to the suffering and a hope to those in despair. You can get all these benefits only if you read the Quran with understanding. If you don't know Arabic, read the translation of the Quran in the language you understand the best.
But it didn't answer the question. The young man asked about the nation. Naik gave him a personal guilt trip and a history lesson. Let's get back to the reason why the Golden Age flourished. It flourished not because of isolation, but because the House of Wisdom was a place of pagan Greek philosophy, Indian mathematics, and Persian logic were embraced and not shunned. Science requires the freedom to be wrong. It requires the freedom to challenge divine explanations with physical evidence. For example, Al-Kindi, whom Naik praises with the theory of relativity, was actually beaten and his library confiscated by religious authorities later in his life because his philosophical knowledge was seen as a threat to the religious orthodox. Naik praises the scientists, but he ignores that many of them were persecuted by the very Quran and Sunnah literates he champions. And this, dear viewer, is the reason why the Islamic world is backward. And that is the answer that the young man and many young Muslims need today. The Golden Age didn't end because people stopped reading. It ended when the questioning stopped. Until the youth are allowed to ask forbidden questions without being blamed for their own decline, the past will continue to be a cage and not a foundation. If you've obtained value from this video, kindly do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell. Because by doing so, you are helping us to continue bringing you more deep dives like this one. To watch other videos that Dr. Zakir Naik failed to answer, click on this link.